The time has finally come and you're buying that sports car. You've been thinking about it for months, if not years, and the day has come. But the main question is, do you buy one brand new or do you go and buy one on the used market? Well, both have their pros and cons. In this video, I'm going to go over the good, the bad, and at the end, what I think is the best option and what I'll continue doing in my own strategy. My name is Nick and welcome to my new channel, Performance Nick. If you love cars and money, well, you found the right place. I do it all when it comes to performance cars, from reviews, mods, opinions, and most importantly, advice for how to make money through cars and how to get the cars you want. Anyways, let's get right into this video. So starting things off, many people believe buying a new car is always the best option. And well, the main reason for that is you know the full history. There's no hidden rebuilt titles that they never told you about, or there's never a burnout or a track car. You know everything. From the second you drove it off the lot, every kilometre or mile you put on it, it's from you and your driving. So if you baby the car and you service it on time and you do all preventative maintenance and mods and stuff like that, you know that the car's been treated well. Whereas the guy who you bought it off previously might tell you it's been treated amazingly, even though every weekend he was out doing stuff like this. The next huge advantage that comes to buying a brand new car is that most manufacturers now either give a 3 or a 5-year warranty. And when it comes to sports cars, that's always a good thing to have because they're high revving engines with high performance parts. So under that amount of tension and pressure that they're put under, it's common for things to break. Obviously older cars, the more pressure they're put under, they're more likely to break. But still, new cars can still have issues. And you'd rather it be covered completely by the dealer. Now, of course, that means you can't go modifying the car, but I'm sure you can suck it up for a few years in the return of having a warranty, meaning it covers every single thing that will go wrong in that first 3 or 5 years. The next awesome thing about buying a brand new car is you can make it truly yours. If you want a violet purple M3 with red leather interior and your surname on the scuff plates as you enter the car, well, it's going to cost you a bit of money, but you can do it from factory without any issues. So if you want to pay out the big bucks, you can have the car exactly how you can imagine it in any dream. You can bring it to life. Whereas buying a used car, well, you can only buy what's on the market. You can't create a new car. The final positive is one that isn't really spoken that much, but when you buy a sports car, and particularly a higher end one like an AMG or a RS or an M Sport, they treat you like a king, like the CEO of the company. From the start of the process when you're looking and test driving to when you buy it, to the updates, to picking it up, and then following up a week or 2 weeks after to make sure everything goes well. The salespeople and the dealership are going to treat you amazingly because they want to keep your business and they want to thank you for spending all that money with them. So the experience is something money can't buy when you're buying a car off the private market that's used and has 100,000 kilometers. Of course, new cars also have downsides, and the first one I'm going to talk about is the wait times. For example, in Australia, if you buy a brand new Porsche 911, just standard, you're waiting over a year to actually receive that car and be able to drive it on the street. Now, the higher spec it is, so from a Carrera all the way up to a Turbo S, means there's more wait time. And also the more unique you make it, the more wait time there is also. So if you're going paint to sample of a custom interior and all this custom stuff to it, well, you're going to be waiting longer than a year. Could possibly even be 2 or 3. So that means if you're itching to get that sports car, you have to wait. You can't just go out, buy it, and drive it the same week. No, you got to wait a couple of years so you can get it. So if time's not an issue, then I guess that's not a negative. But in my opinion, I don't really want to wait 2 or 3 years to get a car. Leading on to the next point, it's the cost. Now, Americans are going to get a heart attack about this, but the taxes and fees we pay here in Australia on a new car, well, it really deters me from wanting to buy one. The main tax that hurts us the most is something called LCT, luxury car tax. Now, I've spoken about it in the past and I'll continue to speak about it in the future, but what it is essentially is every dollar over $75,000, you're charged 33% to pay to the government. Now, most sports cars are over $75,000 in Australia, so that can add up. To make it a fair comparison, I've built 2 of the exact same G80 M3s, one in Melbourne, Australia, and one in Texas, America. Well, this is the difference in costing. If we're starting in the Melbourne one, the car's just over $200,000 and $25,000 of that is just luxury car tax. Forget about stamp duty and all that. $25,000 just for luxury car tax. Now, switching over to Texas, you're looking at $87,000 US dollars plus sales tax, which is about 6.25%. And let's say dealer fees will be generous and say $3,000. That's $95,500 US dollars. Now, if we convert that over to Australian, you're looking at 145,000 Australian dollars. That's an over $50,000 difference just because of taxes and fees. The car's the exact same, the same spec. And regardless of where you are in the world, the one thing you can't escape with a new car, unless you're buying something super limited like a AMG Black Series or a GT3 RS, is depreciation. That is the killer of value in new cars. On average, the first 5 to 7 years are going to plummet the price an incredible amount. I'll put a chart on the screen, but this just shows you the depreciation. Well, you might buy it for $200,000 one day, but 5 years down the track, you've lost over half of that value. Now, with all that said, you might be convinced to buy a used sports car instead of a new one. Going off that depreciation factor, new car buyers see depreciation as an absolute filthy thing from hell. Well, for used car buyers, it's actually a heaven send because, for example, this S63 AMG, it's depreciated over 450,000 Australian dollars from when it was brand new to now. That is a lot of depreciation. So if you bought it back then and you went to sell it theoretically today, you've lost almost $500,000. Only thing is you better hope nothing breaks because this car that's now $40,000, well, the maintenance cost is still off that $500,000 car. So fingers crossed if you buy that car, pray nothing goes wrong, otherwise your repair bill is going to pay off the whole value of the car. The next big pro to buying a used sports car is if you've got that itch and you want that car, well, you can get it in most cases within the week. If you go look at it on Monday, you like it, you put down a deposit, and for example, going through a dealer, by the time they finish up a roadworthy or whatever they're doing with the car, you can pick it up sometimes the same day, sometimes a few days later, worst case at the end of the week. Same thing for a private seller. So there's no waiting around for the car to be built and shipped and all that. You literally like it, buy it, take it home. Other good thing about it is if you're into modded cars and you want to modify your car, you can save a lot of money buying a car that's already been modified. Reason being is you don't have to pay for the labor or the parts. And in most cases, modified cars, unless they're built engines and stuff like that, will sell less than stock ones. The reason for that is they've usually been thrashed, but regardless, you get cheap mods. So just make sure there's no cracks in the engine or anything like that before you buy that modded car, but still, you're saving a lot of money on labor and modifications buying a used one. The other big positive to it is you can get a better deal. Now, most new car brands, they don't really budge on price nowadays. I mean, for example, Honda and Mercedes have gone to an agency model where it's set pricing. There is no negotiating. You can't say, I'll buy it if you do $2,000 discount. They'll just say no, because no other dealer will discount it. They're all a flat rate. No one moves it. So those new cars, they're hard to negotiate on, especially on those higher end brands. If you go into Ferrari asking for 30 grand off, they'll just tell you, you're not a Ferrari customer. When it comes to used cars though, well, it's a different ballpark because they buy it for a certain price, they want to sell it for a certain price, and they've got to make a profit in between. Of course, they're not going to sell it for a loss or break even, but from what they're asking, you can still get them down quite a bit more than a new car where maybe they can move this much. A used car, well, they've got a bit more playroom to go. Now, to contradict my point about the new car experience, the used car experience can actually be the same as that. If they understand that you're a serious buyer and that this car means a lot to you and it's a lot of money, most dealers and salespeople treat you through the process properly and make you feel like $1 million when you're buying that car. Now, of course, the main concern people have about used car is the history. And most high-end dealers like Porsche sites and BMWs and stuff like that, they'll actually go over the history of the car and they'll check everything head to toe because they put a warranty on it on their used cars. So they need to make sure everything is perfect. And most of these dealers won't sell a car without full service history, if not full genuine service history. So that kind of takes out a lot of stress when buying a used car. But the dealers do charge a premium for that because they have to pay more to make sure everything's up to standard. Now, yes, you can buy a private one for cheaper. Only thing is, it might not have been looked after and things might be going out soon that you won't know about, but the dealer will do that. The other problem is when you're buying these used cars, they're gonna have stone chips and wheel curbings and sometimes little dents in the doors and stuff like that, but that happens to everyone's car. Now, when you're buying it privately, I'm gonna make a video on when it comes to buying a car, but you have to check everything out because it's sad to say most people lie in this world. And if you're not very precautious, well, you might buy a written off car, a stolen car, or one that's been thrashed to absolute hell and back. My personal tactic is to buy sports cars around 5 to 10 years old as most of the depreciation has been done. So that's saving you the most money and you're still getting a relatively new car, not one that's 30, 40 years old. Most importantly, you want to make sure the kilometers are low, it's got full servicing history, and there's no signs of any serious accidents. I also don't really hold these cars for a long time because I kind of see them like an investment. If I can own them, enjoy them, and move them quickly, I can retain most of my money and most times not actually lose any. Now, as I was saying, the taxes here are ridiculous and it's kind of why Australia is unlivable to be a car guy. Now, if you want to see why Australia sucks to be a car guy, I definitely recommend you check out this video. I thank you for watching this one. Please consider subscribing. We're trying to get to 1,000 by this year, and any higher, I'm not going to complain. Like it, comment, and I'll see you in the next one.